She had these feelings of, oh my goodness, I knew him. It's like I met this person that he was part of me. I remember her saying that when she saw him, she wanted her sons to have his build. Kody's got a nice build, right? And she wanted that. And I'm just like, you don't think that those things might be a little bit troublesome?
Hi everyone, and welcome back. Last night's episode was one of those moments that changes how you see everything. For years, we've watched this family dynamic play out, with certain narratives being pushed and certain people being cast in specific roles. And last night, a major piece of the puzzle finally clicked into place, and it comes directly from Meri finally speaking her unvarnished truth. The central revelation involves the very, very beginning of Janelle's connection to this family. We've heard Janelle's version for years. She met Kody, felt a knowing connection, but was married to someone else at the time, so she put those feelings away. Last night, Meri provided the crucial, missing context that changes that entire story. She made it explicitly clear that Janelle was not just technically married to Meri's brother when she met Kody. They were actively, fully in a marriage. This wasn't a separation on paper. This was her sister-in-law. Furthermore, Meri clarified their personal relationship. She said point-blank that she was not friends with Janelle prior to all of this. The only connection was that Janelle was her brother's wife. The reason Janelle remained in their orbit after leaving her brother was because of Meri's parents, who were close to Janelle and loved her. So, picture this. The woman who was married to your brother, who then leaves him, is now constantly around not because of you, but because your family has welcomed her. That's an incredibly awkward and emotionally charged position to be in from the absolute start. Now, I can't show you the direct clips from last night. After some issues in the past, I have to be very careful about what I use. So, I'll be breaking this down in my own words, explaining exactly what was said and why it's so significant. And let me tell you, my perspective on Janelle has undergone a massive, massive shift after this latest round of conversations. It's genuinely startling. What's become disconcerting is the complete alteration in Janelle's point of view now. It feels directly tied to her having reached a financial settlement with Kody and having signed a non-disclosure agreement. Suddenly, the man who treated her children terribly, the man she accused of mistreating her, the person she fought with for years, she has nothing bad to say about him. In fact, she's praising him. Meanwhile, she continues to criticize Meri. This makes all of those past moments where she seemed to be aligning with Meri feel incredibly calculated, like it was less about genuine support for Meri and more about a strategic move for Janelle to get what she wanted, particularly when it came to money and property. A bright spot in the episode was Christine's reaction. She was visibly so proud of Meri, proud of her for standing her ground, for speaking up to Kody and not letting him talk over her, for defending her friends. Christine called it a different Meri, and she was thrilled to see it. Christine and her husband David also spoke very openly about polygamy, calling it a harmful system where women are essentially indoctrinated to believe that suffering is a necessary part of their path. Meri echoed these sentiments, agreeing that the belief system was false and taught women they had to endure pain to earn a heavenly reward. And this created a fascinating new divide. Here were Meri and Christine, on the outside, united in their condemnation of the system that hurt them. And then there was Janelle, who reacted with clear discomfort and even anger when David criticized polygamy. She said her stomach dropped, and she felt ill hearing him speak that way. She rushed to defend the principle of it, sounding, in my opinion, exactly like Robyn used to sound when defending the family structure. It was jarring. Janelle sounded like a woman who, after getting what she wanted financially, has chosen to put the blinders back on and forget the years of struggle and mistreatment. She even dismissed Kody's ego as not her problem, a far cry from the woman who was once in his face demanding better. This brings us to the heart of the historic conflict, which Meri laid bare. She explained to the host that the only reason Janelle and Kody even met was because Janelle was married to her brother. They were sisters-in-law. According to Meri, Janelle developed feelings for Kody while she was still married to Meri's brother. Even more, Meri revealed that Janelle once confessed that one of her reasons for wanting to marry Kody was that she wanted her sons to have his physical build. Think about the implication of that timing. She's having these thoughts about another man's physique and her future children with him, while she is still with Meri's brother. Then, Meri states that she and Kody did not pursue Janelle. Kody may have flirted, but there was no active pursuit from their side. Instead, at a certain point, Janelle and Kody decided they were a good match, and Meri was simply expected to accept it. In her faith to be a good wife and endure to the end, she had no real choice. It was presented as a fait accompli. This is happening, and your feelings are not a factor. This directly contradicts Janelle's own shifting statements in the same episode. First, she said, "They pursued me. They wanted me in their family." Then later, when asked to confirm, she backtracked and said, "Oh no, they never asked me. I asked them. So which is it?" The inconsistency is glaring. Meri didn't have to say it outright. The implication is clear. Meri's frustration stems from learning that Janelle essentially left her brother for Kody, was having these deep feelings for Kody while with her brother, and then Meri was forced to not only accept this woman into her marital life, but also to have her own valid feelings of betrayal and hurt be completely invalidated for decades. The insensitivity didn't stop there. Meri revealed that Janelle and Kody originally planned to get married on Meri's birthday. They allegedly didn't see an issue with it, suggesting they could just celebrate their anniversary on a different day. It was only after Kody's mother intervened, calling them out for being so insensitive, that they moved the wedding to the day after Meri's birthday. And even then, Meri was framed as being wrong for being hurt by the initial plan. From the very genesis of this relationship, Meri's feelings were discounted and discarded. As Meri describes it, Janelle has never taken meaningful accountability for this foundational betrayal, leaving her brother for her husband, having those early feelings, and forcing this incredibly painful dynamic on her. Instead, Janelle has focused for 30 years on the subsequent, smaller conflicts, the arguments about chores and living arrangements, using those to paint Meri as the perpetual, irrational villain. In doing so, she gaslights Meri by making Meri's reaction to the original, profound betrayal seem like the real problem. Watching this, I had a realization: Janelle was the original Robyn. She positioned herself as the perpetual victim of mean Meri while avoiding all responsibility for the seismic disruption she caused. Meri even said she felt they completely lacked empathy for her, especially regarding her struggle to have children. While not discussed in this episode, we know from the past that Janelle admitted when she got pregnant first, her initial thought wasn't sympathy for Meri's infertility, it was satisfaction because Meri had been so awful to her. She was glad to be having the first child, and the pettiness went both ways. Janelle herself admitted in this episode that during their famous kitchen sink fights, where Meri was upset about food clogging the drain, Janelle would intentionally stuff more food down the drain to clog it further just to get back at her. And she laughed about it while telling the story. This is not the behavior of a serene, conflict-avoidant person. It's the behavior of someone engaged in a petty, retaliatory war. This brings me to the moment last night that made me actually say "wow" out loud. They showed a clip of Meri calmly but firmly standing up to Kody. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't cursing. She was simply setting a boundary, telling him she wouldn't allow him to speak about her friends a certain way. And what was Janelle's commentary? She dismissively said, "See, that's Meri. She's just being sharp. That's just what she does." The hypocrisy took my breath away. Janelle, do you remember the episodes where you were nose to nose with Kody, pointing your finger in his face, screaming? The times you got up and yelled "forget you" at him? The multiple, documented blowout fights over your relationship breakdown? Meri, in her own marriage dissolution, never reached that decibel level. She didn't swear at him. She didn't get in his face. Yet, when Meri is finally assertive and sharp in defending herself, Janelle uses it as proof of Meri's inherent difficultness. The lack of self-awareness is mind-boggling. Where was this critique when you were yelling? It's a classic gaslighting technique. Provoke a reaction, and then condemn the reaction itself. Christine saw the same clip and felt pride for Meri's strength. Kody tried to paint it as Meri being scrappy and ready to fight, implying a physicality that simply wasn't there. Both Kody and Janelle have spent years gaslighting Meri into believing that her response to their treatment is the primary issue, rather than addressing the treatment itself. So, what I learned from Janelle last night is this: it's acceptable for her to curse and yell during conflicts. That's just passion or standing her ground. But when Meri uses a firm tone without raising her voice or using expletives, That's her being sharp and problematic. Meri holding up a mirror to their behavior makes them profoundly uncomfortable because it exposes the dynamic they've maintained for so long. I have to be honest, I never thought I'd get to this point of understanding with Meri. For years, I, like many, bought into the family scapegoating. But last night made it obvious. Janelle, now financially settled and bound by an NDA, is suddenly keeping sweet again. She's defending polygamy, getting angry at David for calling it harmful, and even claimed, "I never felt like I had to compete in my marriage." This is a direct rewrite of history. We all saw Kody tell her she needed to be more like Robyn if she wanted him to stay. That is the very definition of forcing a woman to compete for her husband's affection and time. It feels like Janelle is putting her blinders back on. And it leads me to a stark conclusion. If Robyn were to leave Kody tomorrow, I genuinely believe Janelle would be right back there with him in a heartbeat. That's how her current defense of him and their past lifestyle struck me. All of this has given me a new empathy for Meri. For so long, she was indoctrinated to accept a situation that was born from a deep personal betrayal, told she couldn't feel hurt about it, and then punished for every human reaction she had to that impossible scenario. It doesn't excuse every single interaction, especially if children were ever caught in the crossfire or made to feel uncomfortable. But it does reframe where the root of the toxicity began. And that root involves the choices of the adults. Janelle chose to pursue a relationship with her brother-in-law. She chose to bring 6 children into a complex, tense dynamic. If Meri's behavior was at times volatile or toxic, the other adults, Janelle and Kody, had the ultimate responsibility to remove their children from that environment. They didn't. They often used the conflict as a weapon instead. They rarely, if ever, take responsibility for their roles in creating and sustaining the hostile environment. So, I'm left feeling proud for Meri finally speaking her truth and sticking up for herself after a lifetime of being told her feelings were invalid. I finally get the source of her pain. This isn't about kitchen sinks or personality clashes. This is about a foundational betrayal that was never acknowledged, and a woman who was forced to swallow her grief for the sake of a principle, only to be called the villain for choking on it. What are your thoughts? Did this episode change your perspective on Meri and Janelle's decades-long conflict? Do you think Janelle's current stance is related to her financial and legal agreements with Kody? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If this deep dive resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our breakdowns of all the latest drama. Thanks for watching, everyone.